You may have people around you who are pushing you towards certain things, and you find yourself inside of your head not thinking you're worthy. You find yourself discounting the progress and the things that you already did. What I know about you is you already dope. You're already dope. What I know about you is you're already confident. You just allowed that failure. You just allowed not being the best. You just allowed that setback. You just allowed that challenge that's in front of you to question your worth. Welcome to the first episode of When the Ball Goes Flat, the podcast that helps athletes position themselves for success beyond sports. I'm your host, Michael Barham, also known as Coach Mike, and on today's show, we're going to explore how athletes can find more meaning and purpose after sports end in their lives. So the purpose of this show is to have a platform to share with athletes how to become more marketable, how to secure NIL deals, how to develop an identity outside of sports, and how to have a seamless transition by leveraging their network when sports end in their lives, right? So Mark Twain has a quote that says, "The two most important days in your life is the day that you were born and the day that you find out why." Let me run that back. The two most important days in your life is the day that you were born and the day that you find out why. So I can't tell you your why. I can't, show you what your purpose is. However, I could give you a strategy that can help guide you to what you may be called to do, right? And so one of the things that I say is when I talk to athletes about their transition and how they can live a fulfilling and meaningful life after sports end, because listen, I get it. Sometimes when the ball goes flat in your life, you go through this period of not knowing what's next, right? And one of the ways that helped me find and enter into my purpose is you can either find a need to fill it or you find a hurt and heal it, right? Find a need or fill it, or find the hurt and heal it. And today's episode is called Fill the Gap. And that's how you fill the gap. You're either finding a need or you're finding a hurt. And so there are plenty of ways that you can do that. And this method was one of the methods that just kind of led me on my journey to coaching. I remember like it was yesterday. As the clock was ticking down, my heart was beating like a HBCU band because I was literally trying to hold back the tears as I look to the sideline and see my teammates as we realizing that this is it. It's over. And so I was transitioning, and basketball was that thing that it helped keep me out of trouble. It helped give me meaning. It helped give me purpose. It was that tool it was my why. It was that tool to want to go to class. It was that tool to want to stay out of trouble. And so as I was going through this process of trying to figure out what was next, it led me to the path of coaching basketball, elementary basketball. I remember like having so much time on my hands. I was starting to get ready to backslide and go into trouble. But then I reached out to one of my old teammates' father, who was coaching a basketball team, one of the elementary teams here in Alabama. And I asked him, can I help out? He agreed to allow me to help out. And, I went the first week or two to practice, just kind of watching and seeing what was going on and trying to help. Well, this league was what we called a police league, where it's inner city league where the police kind of ran the league. And oftentimes they either got someone from the community to represent or they had an officer to lead one of the teams. Well, the coach who was coaching had some other obligations that he had to adhere to, and that left me with the student athletes to coach. And so I was like, we were 2 weeks in, and they sent in an officer because it's a police ran league because I'm a new person. Nobody really knows me. They sent someone in to coach the guys. And he was like, hey, they're responding to you better. I will just let them know you have it. And so here I am, 19 years old, starting my journey of coaching. And when I tell you, I'm going to be strictly honest. while we were going through the season, man, I was stressed out. I'm 19. I'm the same age as some of their siblings, some of their cousins and things like that. But what it did was it gave me a new sense of meaning, a new sense of purpose, because I had young men looking up to me. So I had to watch the way that I talk. I had to watch the way that I move. I had to start growing again and being intentional about what I placed inside of me, because I was pouring back into them. And it really stressed me out. I was like, yo, I can't wait till this season ends. And because I'm never doing this again. And it's funny, when the season ends, I said, yo, I can't wait to do this again. My first year led the guys to the championship. We lost in the championship game, but me seeing the need of not only that coach, not only those group of young men, me seeing that need. During that coaching experience, I had a situation with one of my guys who was in a single parent household. He got in trouble a lot, and he just was going through a lot. Well, he got in trouble and he got into a fight, and the principal looked at me and she was like, Coach, you know, he got into a fight. What are we gonna do? Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm younger at that time, and I'm like, hey, we can just, hit the line, let him run a few laps. But as I looked into her eyes, I knew she wanted something deeper. She wanted to be able to discipline him in a way where it was going to set the tone and help him to make a turn and to make better decisions. And so for me, it was really hard. I had to make him sit out two games, but within that helped me to see that they needed something outside of basketball from me, right? So not only was I feeling a need, I was healing a hurt for some of them who didn't have the right representation at home, who didn't have people that they can look up to. And so there was a space that just kind of helped me to slide into some purpose and some meaning. And what that did was, for me, it took me out of those low and those dark places that I felt when sports ended in my life, and the crowd was no longer cheering. And so I was in that space to where I didn't feel valuable because other people, they weren't saying, they weren't checking in on me as much. They didn't care about what I was doing as much because I wasn't dribbling the ball. But however, I found a need and I found a hurt and I was able to heal it. There's a quote by one of my coaches, Dr. Jenna Dyson. She says, the question isn't who you want to become or what you want to do. The question is, what problems do you want to solve, right? So many times for my athletes who are transitioning right now or who will transition later, that question, I remember cringing when people were going to ask me, what do you want to do? What's that next step like? Because I didn't have the answer. And had someone asked me, what problem in life do you want to solve? I feel like it would have made it a little bit easier to kind of navigate on what I want to do. Because when you understand the problem that you want to solve and you're becoming a problem solver, you're operating in meaning, you're operating in purpose, right? And so just some common problem solvers. When we think about a doctor, they're solving a problem, whether they're treating their patients to help them heal or get better. When we think about a plumber, they're solving a problem. Someone may have a leak, right? Someone may need a toilet put in. Someone may need a tub filled in. They may need something around that particular area, and the plumber comes in and solves a problem, right? We think about a comedian, something as simple as a comedian. We talk about jokes and laughter, but sometimes often people are in dark places, and comedians giving them that laughter is solving a problem in their life. They're giving them some hope. They're giving them some laughter. They're giving them some joy. And that's something real. We think about a photographer, a videographer. They are solving a problem. They're helping capture memories that can last a lifetime, right? So when we think about if you're that person out there and you're like, I don't know what I want to do next, my question to you is, what problem do you want to solve? And so let's think of something simple, like Google search different problems, like the top 10 problems that most people face, whether it's your state, you put it in America, you put it in your state, whatever the case may be. What are the top 10 problems? And just kind of look at those things and see, are some of those things that you see, is that something that you want to explore, right? And let's just kind of think about that. So as I think about problem solvers, as I think about going through that path of wanting to heal a hurt or wanting to feel a need, fill that gap, feel the thing that, there's missing. Like, look around you. There may be some things around you that you may be able to help with to fill the gap, to operate in purpose and operate in meaning, right? There are plenty of things. Think about the local businesses around you. Think about the things that are going on that is operating with your family members and businesses and, youth groups, whatever the case may be. Can you feel a need? But I do want to let you know something, right? Now that you have a strategy and a tool, it's not as simple as just, boom, we're going to go do it and it happens. There are some roadblocks that often hold athletes back when they're transitioning from discovering that purpose, discovering that meaning. And we're going to talk through them. We're going to talk about them, right? And so the first one is loss of identity. That's a roadblock, and it's a huge roadblock because you think about the saying, ball is life. Many of us have lived through that saying, ball is life, and you play ball every single day, in and out. And for many of us, right, especially with the new NIL era, you're not able to get a job because you're engulfed into your sports. And so sometimes you're wanting to get better at your craft to be at the top because it's all about being successful, right? And so we're so consumed and lost into this thing where we haven't done anything else, where we feel worthless oftentimes. So we lose our identity, and our identity is wrapped into that. And so one action step that you can take is explore new interests and hobbies. My challenge to you this summer, let's do something different than we've ever done before. Right? So take time out and enjoy different activities to discover what you like outside of sports. Like, you'll be surprised some of the things that, you may have not had the opportunity to do because you were engulfed in sports, on how that can be that next thing that can be your next big idea, or that can just be your thing that gives you some meaning and some time to just chill and relax and feel purposeful, right? I think one of the biggest things, one of the biggest challenges, or one of the biggest pitfalls for me was when I was done, I had so much time and I always had nothing to do, right? And when you begin to not have anything to do always, you'll find yourself into some trouble. You'll find yourself getting into things that sometimes you can't shake back from, or it will delay the purpose and the gifts and the things that you're owed in this life. Number two is perfection, right? We spend hours upon hours upon years perfecting our crafts, right? So you spent so much time going through dribbling drills. You spent so much time on cone drills, working on your passing in football. You spend so much time working on your swing in baseball. You spend so much time working on your footwork in soccer. You spend so much time for my gymnast. You spend so much time working on your balance. You spend so much time engulfed into it. Listen, you're a high performer. We spend so much time to perform at our highest level, to where now you're in a space to where you're trying new things that you're not even good at. And sometimes that can hit our pride because we're used to being the best, or we're used to desiring and being the best. We're used to not having to figure out and learn something. We spend time learning the sports that we love at 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. If you started a little bit later in middle school, like, we spent all those times in that learning curve, and everything else is just kind of perfecting it, right? And so what happens is we become perfectionists. And we don't want to try things that we're not good at. We don't want to experience what we would consider failure because we're so used to performing at a high level in our sports. And so what I would do is I would suggest you embrace a beginner's mindset, right? Accept that it's okay to start from scratch and to make mistakes, right? Focus on the joy of the journey and improving over time. Don't be so consumed and you're not at the tip top of whatever that is, right? So even me as a communicator, when I start going through the process of becoming a public speaker, right, it's totally different. It was from the beginning. So it's different than running your mouth and perfecting your craft to be a professional as a speaker. You have to work day in and day out. And even with that, there's still imperfections. Even when I'm recording this for you, there were imperfections. But I had to push through. And if in full transparency, this is one of those things that I often struggle with, right? I'm one of those individuals where, sometimes perfection can cause me to stay stuck or stay stagnant, or to start and stop until I'm able to get it perfect. Or we may say it's not right, right? We may say things, well, I still got some more things to do. There's nothing else you need to do but embrace the journey and give yourself permission to become a beginner all over again. And that third thing is self-sabotage. And this one is real, where you don't feel worthy. Like if we were talking about your sport and what you were doing, you sweet. But maybe you're taking an unconventional route in this new space as an athlete. And sometimes you may find yourself with you may have people around you who want to give you opportunities. You may have people around you who are pushing you towards certain things. And you find yourself inside of your head, not thinking you're worthy. You find yourself discounting the progress and the things that you already did. What I know about you is you already dope. You're already dope. What I know about you is you're already confident. You just allowed that failure. You just allowed not being the best. You just allowed that setback. You just allowed that challenge that's in front of you to question your worth, to question the next steps that you're going to take. And so what I want you to do is, as an action step to get over self-sabotage, is practice self-talking affirmations. I know, I get it. It seems extremely corny, right? But if we're real, right, when we think about self-talking affirmation, you think about the little cute stuff, but truth be told, let's take a moment to think about when you were in the game, what you did. You talked to yourself, hey, bro, I'm like that. Don't get it twisted. Let's get it, Mike. We got to lock down these free throws. Come on, bro. The time going down. Come on, sis. Time going down. Listen, we got to get this. We got to get this last rep. Come on. Listen, Brittany, you're about to hit it to third base. You're about to hit it to third base. We're going to bring in somebody. I'm about to slide on first. There was self-talk. And so what I want you to do is just a different form of self-talk. Right? We're going to talk to those negative thoughts that are going on inside of your head, right? If you're struggling to have words, be intentional about writing down affirmations and things that you're good at. Write down a lot of your strengths. Write down some of those things that you're extremely good at. And if you have trouble figuring them out, I'll challenge you to ask 3 to 5 people around you, what are some positive things that they like about you? What are some things they feel you're good at? And then you begin to recite those things to yourself. Every day, I want you to remind yourself of your strengths and your achievements, both on and off the field of court. And these will be the things that can help you counteract the negative talks, right? And we think about the roadblocks of discovering that purpose, of walking into what's next for you, right? And so listen, I'm extremely excited for you all to go with me on this journey of when the ball goes flat. Listen, I hope that this was valuable for you as we watch out for the roadblocks that may stop us from discovering that purpose of what's next, right? Number 1, loss of identity. Number 2, perfectionism. And number 3, self-sabotage. As we get intentional about watching out for these things, you'll be able to find a need and heal it, find a hurt and heal it, and walk into the purpose that you're called. Because one of the things that I believe is there are more highlights ahead. Let me scratch that. There are better highlights ahead than those highlights that were behind us. Listen, if this was valuable for you, I just have one thing I want you to do. I want you to subscribe to the channel so that you can catch more content. I want you to comment on this video, maybe the thing that you resonate with the most. And the third, all I want you to do is share with another athlete or someone that you feel that this can be meaningful for, that this can help push them to the next level, that this can help guide them through their transition. Until next time, I am your host, Michael Barham, known as Coach Mike. You can have, you can be, you can do whatever you want to, as long as you're willing to go through and grow through whatever it takes. Let's get it.